sunrise today. We got a pretty heavy blanket of gray clouds, and that's been the way of it all day. So let's say I left the dock at 6:30. Air temp, it wasn't bad today. It was in the high 30s. Got an east wind today, maybe 5 to 10. And it keeps going back and forth a little bit. I can't quite get my drift really pegged the way I'd like it down through the west end here. But I'm going through my old marks, and it's been, we'll get to that. That's segment number 2. Again, if anybody's tuning in, please give me a heads up on how the audio sounds this morning. I'm hoping it sounds amazing and that I've figured out my issues. So, like I say, give me a little shout in the comment. Oh, there's one. There's one. There's one. What do we got? Looks like a walleye. Oh, he come off. Sorry, everybody. I'm off screen for a minute. I gotta wrangle this guy. He came flying off when I flipped him into the boat. Okay, I'm back. He's just barely a keeper. He's 15 and an eighth. But, nice little guy nonetheless. What's up, everybody? Oh, show him those teeth. Arr, look at that. Walleyes are cool. Okay, so I've just doubled my catch so far for today. I've been all morning. I've been moving around a little bit in here looking, and that was on Chester Copper Pot. I won baits. Bad boy blades. They catch them all. So we got an east wind today, 5 to 10. It really is a perfect drift. It's oscillating on me a little bit, but nothing crazy. Sounds good. Definitely sound is great. All right, Gary. I think I've got it figured out. You guys are going to laugh. I went to Verizon yesterday. I brought my new mic system with me. I talked to the manager, and he looks at me and he goes, yeah, I don't know. I never heard of that before, because you had to change a setting. Although, come to find out, I think I was just using the wrong cord. And I don't want to say that they both looked alike to me. I'm a fisherman, you know. I didn't really pay all that close of attention. Well, that bit me in the behind. So, I tried the new cord this morning. That's what I'm using right now. And I think we have problem solved. Which makes me very happy, because this is going to allow me and the guest to have good, clear audio on everything we do. So anyways, that's the second fish I've had this morning, both walleyes. One was just under 15, one was just over, that one just now. I suck at fishing. He was right there. I'm talking to you guys and my line goes dunk, right straight under the boat. Oh, I'm the worst. All right, so then we talked about our catch. I had my first fish of the day was on Homie, and I beat the water to a froth with Homie this morning and didn't really do much. I've thrown some swim baits, both bottom dragging. I threw a black one on a football head, and then I threw that chartreuse, that blue truce one on that big chartreuse head that I've been doing so well on. Neither of them got bit. So I'm like, okay, and I'm just not seeing. So Don and I were out here yesterday, and when we finally started marking a few fish a little better, we were catching them, not hot and heavy. And then John, my buddy John Wilczek, and John, I'm sorry if I mispronounce your last name. I got to be close. It's a CZ name. So I think it's John Wilzik. Him and he had a couple guys in the boat yesterday. They were behind us. I couldn't quite tell. I think Gary was in the boat with them. Anyway, they were just to the north of us to start the morning, and they had 4 or 5, you know, and then that's the boat I was talking to the other day, and they're like, yeah, we're catching them, but we're not marking anything. And granted, I'm in 18 foot of water today. What picture I am seeing seems to be better in 18. So, okay. You know, I asked the crowd, I asked the group the other day, so in 18 foot of water, your transducer cone, and I don't know the exact measurements, and I know that you can see them, but let's say you're in 18 foot of water, you're looking at a 10 by 10, a 10 square foot radius on the bottom. I think if that's the case, then, you know, you really got to be over the top of fish. Or what I tend to think is you're in an area with a lot of fish when you really start seeing them good. Now, the deeper you get, and with that degree of angle, you start to get a bigger field of view down there on the bottom, but it's not all that big. There was one right there. Let's see if he'll come back. I'll tell you one thing I have noticed in this ice cold water is that if you get one, if you prick one, you let that bait soak right back down in there, and most of them are coming back. I just think that they're committed to that food source this time of year way more than they would be in the summer. Because earlier in the season, you know, I'd made comments multiple times that, you know, if you pricked one, that's it. You might as well just reel it in and do it again, because they weren't coming back. Since this water's got below 40, certainly the low 40s, I have found quite the opposite, almost exactly the opposite, and that is that, like right there, I hit him now. Now this didn't prove my point, but so I come up, there was one there, I didn't get him, I put it right back down, he didn't eat it again. But they have been. Or when those times are occurring, you're just around so many fish that what one misses, another one gets, you know. One man gathers, or one walleye gathers what another walleye spills. So, surface temp this morning has stayed the same, 36.7. I was watching the news this morning before I left the house, and we got 50 tomorrow, and then we're in the mid to low to mid 40s for a high during the day, all the way through till Monday. You know, and I just keep looking out, because that means I got another week out here. You know, I keep looking, I look forward, and that just tells me how long I'm still going to be in the water. Because it wouldn't take long at this point with the water temp where it is. It would not take long at this point to skim over, you know, but it's not going to do that with daytime temperatures above freezing. So you've got to have day and night below freezing for 3-4 days. This thing will glaze over quick. But I don't want that to happen. My goal is to be like my buddy Don Terry, who fished into the first week of January last year. That's my goal. I want to get through the new year and start the new year in open water before we go to ice and then come back to open water. That's my goal. And lastly, there's one. There's one. You guys bring me luck. I haven't done squat all morning, and I've done 2 on camera and missed one. You guys are the best. The best. This looks bassy. Oh. He came up like it was gonna roll, but it didn't. But it was close. Boy, he's tugging. Tug. Tuggy, tug. This has got to be a bass. If it's not, it's a big walleye, but I guess it's a bass. You see the way that rod's digging? Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby, that's what I'm talking about. Who doesn't love a little bass on a Tuesday morning? This kid does. On the blade. Cold water. Hold on one second. Everything I own's caught in here. My beard was caught in it, everything. Ha ha! Yeah. Somebody told me yesterday I was holding the bass wrong. I don't ever mean to hold any of these fish wrong because I love these fish and I do my best to try to take care of them as best I can, because the majority of fish I catch I let go. So it's there's no sense of not taking care of a fish you're going to let go. So let's talk about expectations. What does that mean, Matt? Well, expectations, I've heard this said before, expectations are the thief of joy. What does that mean, Matt? Bronzy, right on. Love the live catches. Thanks, Gary. I do too. It brings a whole new level of excitement to catching fish out here. So, expectations. Expectations are the thief of joy. And what does that mean? That means if you spend your whole life in a state of forwardness, of thinking about the future in such a way that as soon as I hold in one, no, stop. I hold in one them right there. I'm like, boy, that line feels heavy. Why is that the case? I find something here right at the end, figures. When you spend your whole life in that forward thinking mentality, then it creates two things. It creates expectations that can't possibly be lived up to, and it creates a state of anxiety. And I had someone make a comment last night, and Don and I were talking about a friend of his that was, gosh darn, son of a biscuit eater, mother fluffer. Boy, all of a sudden, I haven't fished Chester Copperpot in a while, and he just got lambasted twice right there on that cast. And Don yesterday when we were fishing was telling me about a friend of his that said, he said the fall fishing had been terrible. And I had a comment the other night that said, that this lake used to be great and has fallen on hard times because of mismanagement by DEC. Everybody is entitled to their opinion, and I don't dispute opinions. If we want to talk about things in a fact-based conversation, then I have no problem with it. And I'm not picking on these individuals. I'm just shining a light on that train of thought, because so what do we talk about every day on The Awakening Angler? We talk about positivity. We talk about being positive, not just in fishing, but in life, because life is more than just fishing. For a guy that fishes every day, it is more than just fishing. Okay, great. I don't know. Listen, I've been on this lake and on the water a long time, and you can get spoiled, yes. You can start to expect things based on prior history. I get it. I understand it. But I think that it's short-sighted to say that this lake is not as good. See that? You can't even say it that way. It's not like it's as good as it once was, because at one time, and philosophies have changed. When I was a kid, it was a 10 fish limit. 10 walleyes a day per man. I couldn't imagine that now. With as good as this fishing is, I would have never had a limit this year, maybe once or twice, if it was a 10 fish limit. And then it went to, it's went up and down throughout the years, because any living creature has a cycle to it. And I just thought it was really short-sighted of people to say, this lake isn't what it used to be, or it's no good, or it's trash now. I vehemently disagree with the facts of those statements, and I'll go back to the million adult walleyes in this lake, and that's Cornell and New York State's rallying cry. But they wouldn't have increased the limit if they didn't have an abundance, and that's scientifically fact-based. They just wouldn't. How could you? Now, do we know the ins and outs of every single piece of data that Cornell and the state dissects, and is it some conspiracy that they're not telling us everything? Oh, anything's possible. But I can tell you from day after day out here, yep, that's the new shirt for next season. I suck at fishing. But I can tell you from day in and day out here, clean off the camera, that boy, it sure seems pretty good. And if this is hard times for this lake, I'll take hard times, and would really look forward to the best of times. But what is the individual making those statements? What would they require to change their statement? Sharpen them hooks. They stick into everything else, Rick, except the fish this morning. What would those people require to be able to say to themselves and to others, oh, I had a great day, or I had a great season, or this lake is fantastic and I enjoy fishing it, and there's plenty of opportunity? I don't know. Only those people can answer that. Do you say to yourself, if I don't go out and catch a limit, okay, every day, then I haven't had a good day? And the limit's 5 nowadays. So are you happy if you went out and caught just 5 fish and they were all 5 keepers, and then you went about your way? Are you only happy if you catch a limit plus and then you let a bunch of fish go? What is each person's definition of happy and satisfied and this is the greatest fishery ever? I'm not saying that it is. I'm just saying that I don't find any value in degrading what we have just to say it, because in my opinion that's negative, and I don't like negative. I like positive. I stay to the positive side. I've spent all of a sudden she's getting big and rolly out here. I have spent this year, let's just say this year, 2022, every day since April out here showing people not just the reality of it, but it's starting to rain, so we're going to cut this short. Not just the reality of day-to-day fishing, my reality, but I try to talk about and get people to where they're learning and understanding and enjoying this fishery more, maybe with a little information on how to do something, or somebody just showing everybody, here's what works for me. And I think and I shouldn't say I think, and I know that some of these things are repeatable because I've had people in my boat that weren't doing very well, and then we made a few tweaks, or they watch and see what I'm doing, that it's working. What I do every day doesn't work. I get it. But I find it hard to believe that in the last year of my life that I would have spent that much time and effort on a diminishing fishery. There's a lot of people that come from far and wide to fish Oneida Lake, and it is a jewel. I don't ever want to call it a turd. And you know, I made sure last night that I approached it very positively when I responded to that comment. And quite simply it was, I disagree with your statement, which is based in opinion, and I would love to see facts that support your position. Because when and if the time comes that this lake does have hard times, I would hope that all of us collectively rally together and work with the state and petition them to do things differently if we think that it will be better served. I love this lake. You can call me a homer. You can call me whatever you want. But day in and day out, you know, you have the expectation to come out here and catch a few fish. How many depends on you. And that all depends on your time and effort level and whatnot. Today's the day of shorts. He is going to be super close. Let's measure him. He is 13 and a half, but he's a cool little guy. I'm going to call it a day on that one. I don't like sending out negative vibes, and I'm certainly not going to send out negative vibes on something that I love so dearly. Whether it's a person or a thing, why would you do that? So, there's your morning fishing show right there, baby. Live from Oneida Lake, the jewel of upstate New York. All right, you guys have a great day. It's Tuesday. Do great, be great, have a great day. I love you guys. Thanks for hanging out. Keep your tip up.